All right. Good morning, guys. Happy
Good morning.
Monday.
Good
Woohoo!
morning. Whoop, whoop.
Third week for most of us is quarantine. We got a lot of awesome news over the weekend. We've posted some stuff in in the group. California and the state of Washington both made decisions this weekend to make real estate essential. I'm going to challenge you this morning. A lot of us have done care calls for the last 3 weeks. It is okay to talk about business right now. People have lots of questions. Also, remember, we're taking mind share now to take market share later. So what's your systems? I'm always going to bring it back to the systems. And do people have the knowledge about the systems that you're using to do business right now? I helped an agent yesterday plan a buying and selling seminar that they're going to do for their database. And we went through and started with safety, then went to why now is a great time to buy and sell and the opportunity, and then what the process and the systems are going to be for sellers, what the process and the system is going to be for buyers. So make sure that you're getting the knowledge out there. Knowledge is power, and people just don't know what they don't know. So I just wanted to get that out there, especially California and Washington, because you now are open for business, where a lot of you have kind of stepped back in these last few weeks and not moved forward, and now you just got permission. So how awesome is that? So we've got a great lineup this week. I'm really excited. This morning, we're going to start the week off no better than starting the week with super high energy to get us launched and launch our rocket ships into the week. So I'm going to let David Breckheimer talk for about 10 minutes, and then we'll open up the conversation around his topic. David, take it away.
All right. First of all, are there any huggers out there that are going through crazy withdrawal? I'm totally going through withdrawal. Hey, I love Jess raising her hand. Andrew, I love what you said before everybody else got online. You said, dude, I brought 2 pens. Because I am taking notes today. Here's the deal, Andrew. I'm hoping you don't take a lot of notes on me today. I want to get everybody else's opinion on a couple things today. So I'm hoping that everybody is going to be bringing us some input that we can all take notes on today. Brindley, when you asked me to talk about this, I'm literally a little bit emotional right now. And the reason why I'm emotional right now is because there is so much great content going on out there. And there's a lot of topics that are being covered over and over and over again. So I had to ask myself, what topics are possibly being missed? Where can I bring real value? Where can I bring real content? So here's what I wanted to bring. And I do want you to celebrate yourself today. And I do want you to confess and celebrate your wins today. And here's how we're going to do this. We talk about so much right now that everything is a reaction. I think everything we're talking about right now is, what do we need to do right now to fix this? What do we need to do right now to act properly, that we can take care of our people, that we can take care of ourselves, that we can take care of our customers? Everything is about now. Have you noticed that? Everything has become about now. I think that's good. And guess what? It's reasonable. It's understandable. But let's not forget about what we would have talked about a month ago, what we would have talked about 3 months ago, what we would have talked about a year ago. Didn't we always spend a crazy amount of time talking about is we overestimate what we can get done in a year, but we underestimate what we can get done in 5 years. What are you doing today? This next statement we may not love, but the fact is this isn't going to be the last challenge that we go through in our lives. It's just not going to be. So what you did the last 3 years, what you did the last 5 years is what's determining how you are showing up today. So let's talk about that. The things that you did even the last 12 months, the things that you did the last 3 years, the things that you did the last 5 years are actually determining how you're showing up in this situation today. So the fact is, we're going to have other situations in our lives show up a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. What do you want to be doing right now to prepare how you're going to show up at a later date? So here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what have each one of you done. And I want you to open up. I want you to open up today, because why is it important that you speak up today with what we're going to talk about? Because you're going to share a win, and someone else on here, quite frankly, isn't self-aware enough to know that they experienced the same thing and they didn't even give themselves credit for that win. You're going to point someone else's win out to them. Now, another person is going to realize that you spoke of a win and they didn't even think that that was an area to even think about and consider working on. And you are going to plant a seed for them and going, I need to dig into that. I need to dig into that today. Okay. So here's what I want to share with you is I have written on the board in front of me. It says what we are doing or what we have done to help, or what are we doing and what have we done to help us to bring our best selves. And here's the important thing to me, to every situation in every relationship. That's the other thing I really want to talk about today. Don't think of your wins as just about what are you doing in the situation. What are you doing with our relationships as well? This is about situations because we're in a situation and we've got situations with our team. We've got situations with our business. Okay. We've got situations with our family members. We've got situations with our personal finances, not just our business finances. Okay. But we also have, what are we doing in our relationships? Okay. So what I put on here is what we've done in the past has determined how we're showing up today. What we commit to doing now will affect and determine how we show up in the future. So what areas are you ready to commit to? Okay. Throughout the day, we need to deal with the here and now and how we're going to react now. But I think for a healthy mindset, we need to balance that with what else are we doing to feed ourselves that is going to help us in the future. We need to get out of that now. Now, some people have said to get out of the now. What's the easiest way to get out of the now for some people? Turn off the frickin' news. That doesn't need to be on all day. And you know, if you're in a news cycle, they've only got about 5, max 15 minutes of news. You know that's true. And then it goes on repeat. You could check it once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and maybe still see the same thing. Okay. So what I'm telling you is you can stay up to date. You can stay current. You can deal with the now, but give yourself some grace in the afternoon as to what else are you going to work on that's going to help you be better in the next situation. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I put down, let's talk about the wins, possible areas that you're winning. Let's confess them. Let's celebrate them. And are they personal or professional? Don't be afraid to talk about the personal on this side. Is how I show up sometimes is how I show up all the time. And I know, Andrew, you said that you brought 2 pens. That's a statement that changed my life. How I show up sometimes is how I show up all the time. So I don't know if anybody else has either heard me say this statement or feels this way, but a lot of people know I'm a big book reader. I'm a fanatic book reader. By the way, here's 2 of my favorite books, just in case. Let's just get some book recommendations out there today. The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And anybody who doesn't read this because they think it has to do with sales and they have nothing to do with sales, I hate this title. I despise the title of this book because it's got nothing to do with sales. This is an actual love story. It's a love story with 10 of the strongest principles I've ever seen in my life. And I was introduced to this book around 19 years old. And right now in this time, it's still my foundation. And the only reason why it's called Greatest Salesman in the World is because it's a love story. And it just so happened that the career that this gentleman chose was sales. But the 10 principles that are in there are solid. And then the 4 agreements. The 4 agreements are a big foundation for me. Okay. So here's what I want to ask. I want to ask everybody, and when you're ready, unmute yourself. And what I want you to do is think about, what have you done in the last 3 to 5 years that have helped you show up? And you're actually proud of yourself. It's okay today in this call to talk about why and where you're proud of yourself. What have you done in the last three to 5 years that have helped you show up the way that you want to, financially speaking, for your family, or financially speaking for your business? I'm going to list out a couple of them. If you want to write a couple of these down and think about where have you shown up that you can actually have a little bit of pride in. Number 1, have you shown up the way that you're proud of right now in the way that your company is set up financially, or you are set up personally financially? What have you done in the last 3 to 5 years? Some of you, it's the last 6 months. What have you done to set up and change your systems that have well prepared you for what you are working with today. And when I say systems, it's not just systems for your business. We have systems for our family as well. What have you put in place that has been a game changer for you? What about leadership? What have you done to grow as a leader? Or, I'm not kidding, this is so important. What have you done to pour into your teammates that have helped them become great leaders, that has changed how this situation is going? And maybe in your family, what have you done to help your children become leaders? And you're seeing them make wise decisions. The last couple, what have you done in the last 3 to 5 years to take your level of communication to a whole nother level? There's so many books out there on that, and that's been a real big topic the last year or two. What about mental health? What have you done in the last 3 to 5 years, maybe the last 6 to 12 months, that have drastically changed how you're showing up from a mental health perspective today? And the last one last two I'll mention, time management. Have you done anything? Now, I'm a time blocking, time management freak. That's just it's something that I am passionate about. And I love the work that I put in the last 3 to 5 years, because it's helped me when I come home to stay focused and to still put my schedule together. And it's helped me be productive throughout the day, which has helped me serve other people better. The last one, what have you done in the last couple of years that has helped you become better at asking for or offering help to others? Brindley, if you wouldn't mind me asking, I'm not kidding, I'm just about in tears right now, because I'm thinking about the fact that I know that there are people on this call that aren't giving themselves credit for winning in any of those areas. They're not even thinking about it, because all they're doing is they're in very reactive mode right now, and they're just doing, and they're not giving themselves credit on some of these beautiful areas. Would you be willing to share with us? Because I know you said that you're dealing with, you've gone to a coach, and you've really worked on some personal growth that has helped you in personal and business. What areas right now have helped you win right now that you've worked on in the last 3 to 5 years?
Well, I mean, I'll share with you, I think just for the present moment, I think for the last 3 weeks, a lot of us have been running off adrenaline.
Yes.
Right. I think that we've just heads down, go. James Shaw was talking about it on his call this morning. And this is the new normal, right? This is the new normal until it's not the normal anymore. And so the leaning in has been a huge theme in my life in the last 8 years. Leaning into growth, leaning into uncomfortability, the more I lean in, the faster I get comfortable. So are you leaning in to what's uncomfortable right now so that it can get comfortable as soon as possible, right? I think also asking yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And this is going to sound a little dramatic, and I'm just going to go there. So what happens if I lose my job? If I have no income, what's the worst that's going to happen? So I got to go work at Starbucks for a little bit. So I got to go work at McDonald's. So I got to go clean houses. I'm still going to be alive. I am still going to have my family. I am still going to have all of the things that truly matter in life. And so the fastest that you can get to what's the worst and come up with the plan for the worst, then you're able to get back into the present and start working towards it, because you've already addressed that. Because so much of the anxiety comes from the unknown. So what if, right? So what if it does happen? What if it does happen, right? Onward. It's better than being 6 feet under, right? Because that's the alternative. So that's been a huge thing for me. I also think right now, I'm going to hands down 100% is my faith and my spirituality right now. Yeah. That is the only thing. People are asking me every day, how are you not worried? How do you get on these calls every day, all day long, and you're happy and you're adding solution and you're positive? And truly, it's because the minute my eyes open in the morning, I'm praying and asking God for help today. And I'm truly, and I say my God is a God of faith and Christianity. It's whatever your higher power is that you connect with. And it's connecting as long as it's not you, because you don't have the solutions, right? It could be a tree, it could be a doorknob, it can be a group of people, whatever you believe it is, but it's not you. And are you connecting with that first thing in the morning and just asking for help? Because absolutely none of us on this call have control over any of this, any of it.
and I really appreciate everything that you said, Brindley, is I'm willing to give up 2 of my wins. These are huge to me, okay? And they're different ends of the spectrum. One of them is mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health is an issue in my family. And it's funny because at the end of last year, 2019, we start in January. And you know what the common question is what were your wins from last year? And you know what? I actually had the conversation with my children and I said, you know what? I think 2019 is the best mental health year I've had in at least 10 years. Now, that didn't come by accident. That came through a crap ton of work. That was intentional and purposeful work. And you know what? I'm crazy proud of that right now. It's allowing me to show up as a better husband, as a better business person, as a better father, and everything. I'm in a good place right now, and my family needs that. My work needs that. Everybody needs that right now. The second area, and this is me getting vulnerable, is 15 years ago, I owned a business. And you know what I sucked at? I sucked at finances. I sucked at taxes. I got $120,000 behind in back taxes 15 years ago. Now I've paid all of that off. And let me tell you, that was painful. We lost our house. We lost everything. I was great at sales. I was great at business. I sucked at finances. You know what? I just had, Brindley, I'm so excited about this. I can't even tell you. I just had my tax call yesterday. And you know what he told me yesterday? He goes, you are putting way too much money aside for taxes now. We have a reserve I had no idea I even had. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, I got the good news that we had made right decisions. We are winning right now, financially speaking, even if we go ahead and some things dip down. I have a reserve I didn't even know about. That's winning. That was growth, but that was from intentional activities and learning that I did. Who else can give us some wins, some things that they have really worked on the last 3 to 5 years? Share with us. What are those? Who's willing to share?
Nobody's winning. Nobody's winning.
What's helping you show up better today? What have you done the last 3 to 5 years that's helping you show up better today? It matters. Someone needs to hear that from you.
I'll share. Like for me in the last 3 years, I always felt like I wasn't eloquent enough, or I didn't belong in that group, or I wasn't good enough. I always felt that way. I've always had a successful business in my marketplace, but in groups like this. And it was about 3 years ago in April at a mastermind in Washington, D.C. that I met my expansion partner, Chris Suarez, and he has changed my life. Because in 2018, I didn't make any money. And I had a $25 million business, and I was not managing my money. I always just looked at the bank account and I'm like, oh, as long as I have 6 figures in my checking account, I can run my business. But I was giving it away. I was buying people. And it was so awful. And today I was always at the top of my market. In 2008 also, my husband and I did not manage our money right. He lost his business, a $1.5 million business that we sold for $450, gave up all our properties, went through Chapter 13 bankruptcy, had no college fund. My daughters have all graduated. They have small debt, but not a whole lot. And at that time, when my car got repossessed from my market center at noontime, I was the number 1 agent. And I remember feeling horrible. I remember calling my husband, feeling so humiliated, went home, cried, and the Lord took me right down the path that he walked for us. And I thought, I'm crying over a car when he did all of this for me? This is ridiculous. Got up, shook it off, picked up my sister's car. We ended up with our car again. And I had one of the most successful years that year. And here I am. And it was like Brindley. People would look at me and say, how are you doing this? And we also have addiction in our family. And through all of that, it was just one thing after another, but it was faith. And it was not giving up. And it was meeting people and saying, yes, I need help. I need to just ask. I just need to speak out. And even in some of these groups right now, I've always been the one that doesn't speak out, and I've learned so much by that.
It's so important. And I'll be vulnerable here for a minute, right? My mother taught me how to live poor better than she taught me how to live rich. You give me $1 and I can stretch it for 6 months. I can eat beanie weenies and mac and cheese out of the box. I love it. I crave it. It's my comfort food. But you give me $10,000 and it'll be gone tomorrow. And I made a lot of money last year and I had nothing to show for it. And so I have a friend that's built a lot of wealth, and I reached out and I said, I've never been vulnerable about this. Everybody thinks that everything is peaches and roses, and I need help. And I spent all weekend sending her everything and being completely open. And I cried and I got scared and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to judge me. Someone's going to judge me. Like, this is bad. Yet if I don't lean into it, I'm going to be in the same situation 12 months from now. So also with everything that's going on right now, be careful about what you're seeing being reality. Because your people might be showing up with a smile. Your people might be showing up positive. Everything's great, wonderful, great. Your family's saying everything's great. Your friends are saying everything's great. And then when the camera goes off, they're scared out of their minds. So just make sure that you're checking in on a regular basis. You're digging deep. You're looking for those little signals. Like, I had a friend that I saw on a post that she said she wasn't doing well. And so I reached out and she was like, I'm great. And I'm like, no, you're not. And I sent her the screenshot and she's like, okay, you're right, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to confront right now, right?
And I can remember back in 08, 09, 10, that time when life got so simple for us. And my husband was going to the pawn shop just to be able to provide food on the table and stuff like that. We had family dinners every Sunday. And it was not just my family, but my mom. And we're back to that again. We did, even though my mom right now is in Austin with my sister and most of my family's up there, you know, Saturday night we did a Zoom call and had game day, and it was all of us together. And like, it takes this for us to come together.
It's amazing.
Think about it. Like, it's so
amazing.
beautiful.
It's amazing the families that are coming together right now. Like, families have it spoken. So can we hear from some other folks? What have your wins been?
I know, JJ, you've had a couple comments in there. Denise, you had unmuted yourself. The one thing I'm going to challenge everybody about is I want you to write this down. And I'm suggesting to you that you do a journal entry this week and put some time and focus into these 2 questions. What have I done in the last 3 to 5 years that have helped create a win? I need you to celebrate yourself. You need yourself to celebrate you. You are doing some great things. You have done some great things in the past that are helping you show up better today. You need to brag on yourself in that journal. Number 2 is, what am I going to commit to that's going to help me show up better the next time that I need to show up? Brag on yourself what you've done, and then tell yourself what you still need to work on. Who else is willing to share a win? They're just proud of the work that they put in, and it's helping them show up for their family, their business, their friends, or anybody better right now.
Denise, did you have something you wanted to add, sweetie?
Yeah, from a financial perspective, both in our business and personally, over the last year, we've had a really big focus on understanding, having a ton of visibility around finances and understanding where the money is going. It started first, I think, with Win Make Give last year, which is a conference in Bellingham. And there were all these exercises about how to review your credit card statements, know where your money is going, know what percentage should be going into what bucket. And I was able to apply that we were able to apply that to the business. And then I've been able to apply that in my life so that when we sat down and looked at our finances this time around, personally, there was very little to cut. I think I was able to lose 1 gym membership, but we run so lean that I was really proud of not having, for the people that do have a ton to cut, that's great. For us specifically, because we have been saving for more opportunities, I was really proud to not have anything to cut that was just extra fat. And then in the business perspective, we had things to cut, but we were running pretty lean. So it was great to see that. And I've been able to bring that exercise to my family members. And that's something that I'm very proud of.
Yeah. Denise? And I'll add to that, Denise, that, right now, guys, cash is king. And the more that you can hold cash in your personal life, in your businesses, the more you're going to have for opportunity as this all plays out. And as we come out of this, opportunity for investment, opportunity for talent, so much opportunity. So this weekend, I literally cut everything. If it's not a necessity, if it doesn't feed me or keep a roof over my head, it's pretty much gone. So that all the cash that's left over, I can store now to pay off debt and to have opportunity to invest in the future, because you can buy an investment property with 5 or 10 grand. And if you can save 5 grand right now by cutting out and going to the bare minimum, think about the wealth that you can have after this.
And I know we don't have much more time, but Andrew, I know that you said you brought multiple pens, and if you can use some of that ink, I'm just telling you right now, guys, I can't stress this enough. I'm not kidding. I just want to cry. I'm just so emotional about everything right now. I believe you guys are winning, and I think you're winning for your families. I think you're winning for yourselves, and I think that you're winning for others, and you're not giving yourselves enough credit because you are so busy being reactive. And I get it. We need to figure out what we need to do right now to take care of things. There is some value in slowing down and saying, you know what, I'm winning. Denise, some of the wins that you had, let's be honest, sometimes we win and we're actually embarrassed to win. I was embarrassed when I went to that point where everybody said, start cutting everything. And I went through everything. I'm like, I've got almost nothing to cut. And I was embarrassed about that. And then all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I put a lot of work in the last 3 years to make sure that I was in a good position right now. So I actually, rather than being embarrassed about it, I had to celebrate it. There has to be some things that you can find joy in right now. And then I had to determine what areas could I actually be better in and be willing to make that commitment to put that work in so that I can even show up better in the next situation. So I'm going to encourage that you use those extra pens, that you use that ink, and actually journal about those things. Celebrate what you have done and write down, what am I going to commit to? And I'm telling you right now, if you've got family members, you got a spouse or anybody, take that journal out and talk about those things together and have fun together. Let your spouse be excited that there's things that we can celebrate in our business, in our families, and everything else like that. Bring some joy to your family. And I'll tell you, the last thing I'm going to share here, I've got 3 beautiful children. We're empty nesters right now. It's the first time we're total empty nesters. And you know what? All of our kids are calling me right now. One's in Eugene, Oregon. I got the 2 girls, and they're all still working, and they're not home shut in. They're out serving people right now because they serve children and they serve adults with needs. And you know what? They're coming home and they want to hear about some wins because they're stressed out all day. And who do they call? Go figure. They call daddy. I love that they're still calling daddy. You know what they want to hear from me? They want to hear how we're still winning and what we're doing to create some happiness and joy. We'll talk about the things that we need to do right now, but they need me for other reasons than what is the panic response. There are things to celebrate. We need that for ourselves, and we need to bring that to our people.
Yeah. And I just want to go back to the beginning. What we said was getting used to the new normal and leaning into the new normal in your professional life and in your personal life. And Denise, thank you for sharing those wins, because I know you and David very well, and you have worked really hard. Also, those of you that are just realizing right now, don't beat yourselves up if you didn't prepare for this. Celebrate the wins, that you're actually getting honest with yourself now and doing the things that today's the first day. Who cares what's happened in the past? Like, there's no time better than right now to start. So if you want to get vulnerable, I'll get vulnerable with you. Call me. We can help you. Don't put your head in the sand here, right?
Don't let the whole day.
Can I say one quick thing?
Go for it, Andrew.
Okay, so I've now learned that we're on Facebook Live, so it's not just us 22 people talking. So this is a perfect example, and I want to compliment, I think it's 22, the 22 people that are on this call today, because obviously we're focused. I don't want to say we've top graded our talent, but we focused on a way to get better. And I'll say it like this: the group started, the whole Facebook group is big, and then the call started big and got smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's fine because everybody's got their own stuff. But the people that keep showing up here in the morning, I think it says a lot, and you should write that down as a win. Hey, I'm getting my butt out of bed at 7:30 in the morning. I'm pouring coffee. I got the dogs underneath the table here, but we're like doing real estate and we're talking and we're making progress. I will temper that with, and Brinley and I talked, I think it was Saturday morning or something. You have to be careful how you share those wins, And I've talked to a couple of people, because it's me, that you don't overdo it. I'm all about, hey guys, get pumped, get fired up. I go 500 words a minute, even with decaf coffee. That's a little overwhelming for normal people. And yes, I want to share wins, but in a sense, I'd almost rather share them with you 22 people than try to tell my market center, hey, I'm kicking ass. I'm going to double my business this year. I don't understand what's the problem, because that's not really nice, and that's not fair. And that's not exactly the way to motivate someone who's really panicked and nervous and has no idea what to do.
Yeah.
So
it's
you
meeting,
just have to
meeting people where they are. I want to be respectful of people's times, guys. We want to meet people where they are. David, tell them how they can get in touch with you guys. David is an awesome, if you need a pep talk, you're in your head, like he's a great person to connect with and chat with. David, tell them how to get a hold of you.
I'm all about systems and mindset and spirit and soul. Just find me on Facebook. I'm telling you right now, we're all on Facebook. Who cares? Just friend me on Facebook and message me. I could care less. If you find my website, great. Just find me on Facebook. Let's go.
And David's been awesome and participating on these calls, so he'll be on these calls too to add his expertise. Guys, go kick ass this week. Yes, I just said the A word. Go take the bull by the horns, make it happen. And if you need anything, we're all here to support you. We'll see you guys hopefully for the 12:30 call for West Coast folks. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Love
Bye,
you guys.
guys.
Bye.